with us this morning at Hunter Engineering, and we'd like to welcome everyone. But to start off with, I'd like to introduce Dan Meehan, who is head of the Missouri Chamber of Commerce. Dan is a relentless proselytizer for American and Missouri business, represents 3,000 employers in the state of Missouri and almost 500,000 employees. And Dan, I've known for a long time, does a superb job. Dan, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks. Thank you, Steve. It's a pleasure to be here at such a stalwart employer in the state of Missouri, Hunter Engineering, and for such an important event. We know what the news is today, and it's not all good. What we're doing today in this election cycle is talking about what we need to do to get the economy back on track and create jobs throughout the state of Missouri and throughout the country. And that's why we're very happy at the Missouri Chamber to be partnering with the U.S. Chamber and in supporting our candidate Roy Blunt for the U.S. Senate. We're here to officially announce the endorsement of Congressman Blunt for the U.S. Senate. And to do that, I'd like to turn it over to our good friend Bill Miller, who works with the U.S. Chamber and has been a very good friend over the course of time, and to talk about why the U.S. Chamber, the nation's largest employer organization, is in support of Roy Blunt for the U.S. Senate. So, Bill, would you like to come on up?
All right, thank you guys very much. It's a great pleasure for me to be here at Hunter. This is where America gets it back, and I think that it's great also to see our former chairman, John Bachman, U.S. Chamber of Commerce, as former chairman and good friend. And Dan, the work that you're doing at the Missouri Chamber is extraordinarily important. Appreciate the partnership and certainly appreciate your involvement in this important race. Steve, thank you so much for hosting us today on this important day, because what we are talking about today is jobs. And what we are talking about is the direction of the U.S. economy. And we have 77 days before Election Day. And in 77 days, the people of Missouri are going to make a choice, just like people all over the country are going to make a choice. They're going to make a choice on whether or not to continue the same policies of government-run increased taxes, increased regulations, or we're going to allow an environment that allows for companies like Hunter to manufacture and free of regulation with incentives that create opportunities to produce both domestically and internationally. Earlier today, we were fortunate enough to take a tour of this place, and just like in the manufacturing sector and in the agricultural sector, people in Missouri know that jobs are created here that aren't just that are not just about products that are being consumed here in Missouri, but consumed all over America and all over the world. And so I'm here today on behalf of the United States Chamber of Commerce to announce our formal endorsement of Roy Blunt. Roy Blunt has been an individual who we have worked with, who has a proven track record of supporting job creators all across this country, whether it be in the trade space or it be in understanding and recognizing and leading on issues of creating jobs, lowering taxes, and lowering the regulatory burdens that are hampering the U.S. companies like Hunter. So people in Missouri have a choice. They have a clear choice in this race. They have the choice of supporting someone who has been a great leader and a great friend to job creators across this country and across the state of Missouri, or they have an opportunity to support someone who has been strong supporter of a cap and trade program and a health care program that the President and the Democrat Congress have put forth that is job killing and that creates additional regulations. And I don't think that that's the right choice. I don't think it's the right choice for America, and I don't think it's the right choice for Missouri either. I think that, again, people in this state have a clear choice on someone who is a supporter of job creators here in this great state, and that person is Roy Blunt. And so it's with great pleasure that that I introduce the next senator from Missouri, Roy Blunt.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Bill. I'm pleased to have the endorsement of the Chamber. We'll add that to the endorsement of the National Federation of Independent Business, the Farm Bureau, another group of small business people at the Farm Bureau. We spent 3 days last week around the state talking about their endorsement, but wherever we are, I've been talking about jobs. The number one goal in the country today should be private sector job creation. And as you talk to people about the issues we're facing as a country, they want to talk about where are the jobs, why is the federal government spending so much more money by any measurement than it's ever spent before, and then on the specific issues, I think we saw here in our state 2 weeks ago the level of engagement on the government-run health care plan. 72% of Missourians said they didn't want to be part of that plan. 28% of Missourians said that they were fine with that plan. It was another issue where Secretary of State Carnahan and I disagree. I was voting yes, she was voting no. I did everything I could to present better alternatives for more competition, more private sector solutions to the healthcare challenges we face. She said she would have voted for the Senate bill in December when the Senate passed that bill. So whether it's healthcare, cap and trade, which, Bill, for you coming in visiting us today from another from across the country, the only place where all of the utility providers went together and did a study on what would happen with cap and trade if that bill passed was Missouri. And in our state, a state that's 82% dependent on coal, looking at a bill that's a penalty on coal-based utilities, our bills would go up about 80% in the first decade and more after that. So having your help, having Dan Meehan and our friends at the Missouri Chamber helping in this campaign, being hosted by my good friend Ambassador Brower, and having John Bachman, the former Chamber president here, is an important start for this day. But it's also the day we roll out our jobs plan. Jobs for Missouri is available on our website, royblunt.com. It talks about the things you do to remove the uncertainty from the job-creating environment. I've had dozens of job roundtables around the state, and frankly, they start off saying, well, there's just too much uncertainty to invest and create jobs, and then they quickly go to what they know that's certain about the future environment, a job-creating environment where healthcare costs are out of their control for the first time ever. The government's either going to tell you what kind of health care you can provide, or you're going to have to pay a per employee penalty. Utility bills that would virtually double in this state in a decade if the current folks in charge in Washington get their way, and taxes that are going to go up. 44% of all small business income will be taxed at a higher level next year than it is right now. There is no job-creating message there. And so the Chamber is concerned in Jefferson City at the national level, but families are even more concerned. Families want to know where are the jobs and what do we do to focus on private sector job creation instead of government job creation. Government jobs don't pay the bill. They are the bill. And what we've seen in the last 18 months has been a focus on government spending and government jobs at the expense of private sector jobs, and we have to get back to where we're focused on the right thing. So I'm glad to have your help, but our effort here is an effort to create jobs. In fact, we had our election kickoff for the general on primary election night at a factory here in St. Louis. It was in St. Louis City. The J.K. Pulley Company, Brian Koch, one of the owners of that company, had written me several months ago and said, these 32 jobs are gone if cap and trade passes. Come by and visit our factory sometime. I'd like to show you what we're doing. He probably didn't know that I was going to come by with several hundred of my friends on election night, but I did, and we were glad to be there, and he was glad to have us there, as were the people that work there, because they want their jobs preserved, and we need to be adding to private sector jobs. So.